Vulnerability is often misunderstood. Many think it means exposing your weaknesses or being emotionally fragile. But in reality, vulnerability is the most powerful tool you have to build a deep emotional connection. When you allow yourself to be truly seen, your fears, your hopes, your imperfections, you create an authentic space where real intimacy can grow. This kind of openness invites the other person to lower their defenses as well. And suddenly, you're no longer just two people exchanging words. You're two human beings meeting on a raw, honest level. Think about it. We all crave acceptance. Yet many of us spend so much time hiding parts of ourselves out of fear of rejection or judgment. But here's the truth. When you hide who you really are, you build walls that keep others out. And ironically, you also keep yourself isolated. Vulnerability breaks those walls down. It's not about oversharing or unloading all your emotional baggage at once. It's about choosing moments to share something meaningful, something real, even if it makes you feel a little exposed. And that's where courage comes in. Showing vulnerability requires bravery because it means risking the possibility that the other person might not respond the way you hope. But that risk is necessary because the alternative is staying disconnected or stuck in superficial relationships that never really satisfy your heart. When you share your true self, you give the other person permission to do the same. This mutual openness forms the foundation of an unbreakable emotional connection. Another important aspect is that vulnerability creates trust. When someone sees you being genuine and honest, they begin to trust that you won't judge them or use their vulnerabilities against them. Trust is the currency of deep connection, and vulnerability is what earns it. Over time, these moments of authenticity build on each other, weaving a strong emotional fabric between two people. It's also essential to recognize that vulnerability isn't a one-way street. Emotional connection flourishes when both people feel safe enough to be open. So by being vulnerable yourself, you're signaling to the other person that this is a safe space, encouraging them to lower their own walls and share their truths. But vulnerability doesn't mean being needy or dependent. It's about being secure enough in yourself to share honestly without fear of losing control. It's owning your feelings and expressing them without guilt or shame. When you can do this, you create an emotional atmosphere where both people feel accepted for who they are, flaws and all. In practice, this might look like sharing a fear you have about the relationship, admitting when you've made a mistake, or opening up about what really matters to you beneath the surface. It could be as simple as saying, "I'm feeling a little scared to tell you this, but I want you to know how I really feel." These moments may feel uncomfortable at first, but they hold incredible power. Ultimately, vulnerability is the gateway to connection. It's what transforms interactions from transactional to transformational. When you make the conscious choice to be vulnerable, you're investing in a deeper, more meaningful bond that can weather challenges and grow stronger with time. So don't hide your true self. Embrace vulnerability as your secret weapon for building unbreakable emotional connections. Active listening is one of the most underrated skills when it comes to building an emotional connection, yet it's absolutely essential. Most people listen with the intention to respond, or worse, they only half listen while their minds wander elsewhere. But truly listening requires your full presence, your full attention. It means tuning in not just to the words being said, but to the feelings behind those words, the tone, the body language, and the pauses. When you listen like this, you show the other person that they matter deeply to you, that their experience is important and worthy of your time and energy. The real power of active listening lies in creating a safe space where people feel heard without judgment or interruption. So often, people just want to be understood. They don't necessarily need advice or solutions. They need someone who will hold space for them, who won't rush to fix or dismiss their feelings. When you offer that kind of listening, you build an emotional safety net that invites openness and honesty. It's important to remember that active listening is about more than just silence. It's about engagement. You show you're present through eye contact, nods, and appropriate facial expressions that convey empathy. Sometimes it's about reflecting back what you hear in your own words, like saying, "It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed by everything right now," Or, I can see why that situation really hurt you. This kind of validation confirms that you're not just hearing words, but truly understanding the emotional core behind them. Another key part of active listening is resisting the urge to interrupt or immediately offer your own perspective. When you do this, you risk cutting off the speaker and making them feel unheard or unimportant. Instead, give space for them to fully express themselves before responding. This patience shows respect and builds trust, because people sense you genuinely care about what they have to say. Active listening also helps prevent misunderstandings. So often, conflicts arise simply because people assume they know what the other person means or feels without checking in. When you listen attentively, you're more likely to catch subtle nuances or unspoken feelings that might otherwise get overlooked. This leads to clearer communication and a stronger emotional bond. It's worth noting that active listening is a skill you can cultivate with practice. It requires patience and mindfulness to stay fully present, especially in emotionally charged moments or when you might be tempted to jump in. But the payoff is enormous. When someone feels truly heard by you, it deepens intimacy and loyalty, making your connection unshakable. In relationships, practicing active listening consistently sends a powerful message. I value you, your thoughts and feelings matter to me, and that message resonates deeply. It creates a foundation of trust where vulnerability can flourish and emotional walls begin to come down. This is the kind of connection that can survive misunderstandings, tough times, and disagreements. So, if you want to build an unbreakable emotional connection, start by listening, not just hearing, but truly listening. Show up fully, be present, and make the person in front of you feel seen and valued. That simple shift can transform your relationships from surface level to soul deep. Consistency is the unsung hero when it comes to building trust and emotional connection. People don't just need moments of intensity or passion. They need to know they can count on you over the long haul. Consistent presence, both emotionally and physically, sends a clear message. I'm here. You're not alone. This kind of reliability creates a sense of safety that allows emotional intimacy to grow naturally and deeply. Think about trust like a bank account. Every time you show up, listen, support, or follow through on your promises, you're making deposits. But if you're inconsistent, if you disappear when things get hard or fail to communicate regularly, you're making withdrawals that drain the account. Without enough deposits, trust falters and emotional distance creeps in. The key to an unbreakable connection is keeping that trust account healthy through consistent actions. Emotional presence means more than just physical proximity. It's about being truly available. Not distracted, not checking out mentally, but engaged and connected with the person you care about. Whether it's in everyday conversations or during challenging moments, showing that you're there emotionally strengthens the bond. It reassures the other person that they matter to you and that you're willing to invest your energy in the relationship. Physical presence also plays a vital role. In a world full of distractions, busy schedules, and digital noise, carving out quality time together is an act of love. It's a way of prioritizing the relationship, of saying you're worth my time. This doesn't mean grand gestures or extravagant plans every day, but small, consistent moments. Sharing meals, going for walks, sitting together without distractions, that weave your lives closer. Consistency is especially important during difficult times. Challenges test the strength of any connection. It's easy to be present when things are smooth and fun, but true connection is forged when you show up through the tough conversations, the disappointments, and the moments of vulnerability. When you remain steady and supportive, even when it's uncomfortable, you demonstrate that your commitment is not conditional on circumstances. This steady presence creates a foundation where vulnerability feels safe. People open up more freely when they believe the other person won't disappear or judge them in moments of emotional rawness. Consistency fosters that belief. It's the quiet assurance that no matter what happens, you'll be there, holding space for one another. It's important to recognize that consistency isn't about perfection or never making mistakes. It's about effort and intention. Nobody can be present 100% of the time, but showing up regularly and genuinely matters. Small actions repeated over time build momentum that carries the relationship forward. Furthermore, consistency also encourages mutual investment. When one person is reliably present, it naturally motivates the other to reciprocate. It sets a rhythm for the relationship, a shared understanding that both people are committed to building something lasting. In short, consistency is the glue that holds emotional connections together. Without it, even the strongest initial chemistry can fade. But with it, trust grows, safety flourishes, and the connection deepens into something truly unbreakable. If you want to build an emotional connection that stands the test of time, make showing up, not just once, but again and again, your highest priority. Shared experiences are the heartbeat of any meaningful emotional connection. They create a unique tapestry of memories and moments that belong just to you and the other person, weaving together your stories in a way that strengthens your bond beyond words. When you go through life's highs and lows together, you're not just sharing time. You're sharing pieces of your hearts, and that's what makes a connection unbreakable. It's easy to underestimate the power of doing things together, especially in the rush of daily life. But those shared experiences, whether they're as simple as cooking a meal, watching a sunset, or as significant as overcoming a challenge, serve as emotional anchors. They give your relationship depth and history, something to look back on and draw strength from when things get tough. These moments become the foundation of your story, unique to your connection, that no one else can replicate. Going through challenges together is especially powerful. When you face difficulties side by side, whether it's personal struggles, external pressures, or conflicts, you create a sense of "we're in this together." This shared resilience fosters a deep emotional intimacy because you've proven you can rely on each other when it matters most. It's not just about surviving those moments, but about learning and growing from them, strengthening the trust and respect you have for one another. On the lighter side, joyful experiences also play a crucial role. Laughter, fun, adventure. All these positive emotions release chemicals in our brains that bond us closer. Think about the last time you genuinely laughed with someone or shared a spontaneous moment of joy. That feeling creates a magnetic pull, making you want to spend more time together and deepening your emotional connection naturally. Creating traditions or rituals unique to your relationship also helps. It could be a weekly coffee date, a shared hobby, or a special way you celebrate milestones. These rituals give your relationship a rhythm and a sense of identity. They reinforce that you're building something meaningful together, something consistent and reliable amidst life's chaos. Importantly, shared experiences also open up opportunities for vulnerability and communication. When you're doing something together, whether it's a casual walk or tackling a project, it creates space for conversations that might not happen otherwise. These moments allow you to reveal parts of yourself gradually and naturally, which nurtures deeper understanding and closeness. Another thing to remember is that shared experiences don't have to be grand or expensive. It's the quality and intention behind them that matters. Even simple moments can become profound if you're fully present and engaged. Being intentional about carving out time to create these experiences is an investment in your emotional connection that pays huge dividends. Ultimately, shared experiences are the emotional glue that binds two people together. They transform me and you into we. They give you a shared language, a set of memories, and a foundation of trust and understanding. So, if you want to build an unbreakable emotional connection, prioritize creating moments together, big and small, that you can cherish forever. These are the moments that will hold you close through any storm and light up your relationship with lasting warmth. Understanding and validating feelings is a cornerstone of building a deep emotional connection. When someone shares their emotions with you, it's not just about the facts or what happened, it's about how they feel in that moment. And those feelings deserve to be acknowledged and honored. Validating someone's emotions means saying, in effect, I see you, I hear you, what you're feeling matters. This simple act can have a profound impact on how safe and valued a person feels in a relationship. Often, people make the mistake of trying to fix feelings or dismiss them with logic. For example, if someone is upset, they might hear responses like, "You shouldn't feel that way," or "It's not a big deal." These kinds of replies, even if well-intentioned, can make a person feel misunderstood and shut down emotionally. Instead, when you take the time to validate feelings, even if you don't fully understand or agree with them, You create a space where vulnerability is welcomed, not judged. Validation doesn't mean you have to agree with every feeling or perspective. It means you recognize that emotions are real and meaningful to the person experiencing them. You might say something like, "I can see why that upsets you," or "It makes sense you'd feel hurt by that." This kind of response shows empathy and respect. It tells the other person that their inner world is important and that you're willing to meet them there. When feelings are validated, it fosters trust and emotional safety. People become more willing to open up and share honestly because they know they won't be met with criticism or dismissal. It also encourages healthier communication because the emotional foundation is solid. When you feel heard and understood, you're less likely to shut down or react defensively. Validation also helps in diffusing conflicts. When emotions run high, people often react impulsively or defensively because they feel misunderstood or attacked. By pausing to acknowledge and validate those feelings, you can de-escalate tension and create an opportunity for calm, productive conversation. It's a way of saying, "I'm here with you, even if we don't see eye to eye." Another important aspect is learning to tune into non-verbal cues. Sometimes people struggle to put their feelings into words, but their body language, tone, or facial expressions reveal a lot. By paying attention and responding to these signals with empathy, you deepen the emotional connection and show that you're truly present. Practicing validation also means being patient. Sometimes emotions are complex or confusing, and the other person may not fully understand what they're feeling either. Offering your presence and gentle acknowledgement, rather than pushing for explanations or solutions, can be incredibly healing. Ultimately, understanding and validating feelings is about honoring the humanity in the other person. It's about recognizing that emotions are the language of the heart. And when you respect that language, you build a connection that feels safe, nurturing, and unbreakable. This emotional respect creates a foundation where love, trust, and intimacy can flourish naturally, making your relationship deeper and more resilient through life's ups and downs. Setting clear emotional boundaries is essential to creating an unbreakable emotional connection because it establishes a foundation of respect and safety in the relationship. Boundaries are not about pushing people away or being distant. Rather, they are about defining what is acceptable and what isn't, so both individuals feel secure and valued. When boundaries are clear and honored, it prevents misunderstandings, resentment, and emotional exhaustion, allowing the connection to thrive authentically. Many people misunderstand boundaries as walls or barriers, but in truth, healthy boundaries are like guardrails that protect the integrity of the relationship. They help you communicate your needs and limits clearly, so the other person knows how to support you without overstepping. This clarity reduces confusion and builds mutual respect, because each person understands where the other is coming from and what they require to feel safe and comfortable. Emotional boundaries might look like saying no when you need to, expressing when something bothers you, or asking for space to process your feelings. It's about being honest with yourself and your partner, about what you can handle emotionally and what drains you. When you respect your own limits, you also teach others how to treat you, which creates a healthier dynamic overall. Another important aspect is that boundaries encourage individuality within the connection. Emotional closeness doesn't mean losing yourself or becoming enmeshed in the other person's emotions. Instead, boundaries help maintain a balance between intimacy and independence. This balance is crucial because it allows both people to bring their whole selves to the relationship without feeling overwhelmed or suffocated. Setting boundaries also fosters trust. When you communicate openly about your limits and needs, you demonstrate self-awareness and respect for the relationship. The other person feels safe knowing that they won't inadvertently hurt you or cross a line. This safety is essential for vulnerability, as people are more willing to open up when they feel protected by clear boundaries. It's normal to feel uncomfortable or guilty when setting boundaries, especially if you're used to prioritizing others' feelings over your own. But it's important to remember that healthy boundaries are an act of self-care, not selfishness. They create space for genuine connection, rather than draining interactions born from unmet needs or resentment. Practically speaking, setting boundaries requires honest communication. It might involve saying, "I need some time to think before discussing this," or I'm uncomfortable when this topic comes up. The key is to express your feelings calmly and clearly without blame or criticism. This invites understanding rather than defensiveness. Boundaries also evolve over time as the relationship grows and changes. Regular check-ins about how each person feels and what they need help keep the connection strong and adaptable. Being flexible while maintaining core boundaries shows maturity and respect for both yourself and the other person. Ultimately, emotional boundaries are a powerful tool for building a connection that lasts. They create a safe container where both people can be honest, vulnerable, and fully themselves. By setting and respecting boundaries, you lay the groundwork for a relationship that is not only unbreakable, but deeply fulfilling and nourishing for everyone involved. Nonverbal communication is a powerful, often overlooked component of building an unbreakable emotional connection. While words carry meaning, much of what we truly communicate happens beyond language, in our body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, and even the energy we bring in. Ultimately, mastering nonverbal communication enriches your emotional connections by adding layers of meaning and intimacy. It shows the other person that you are fully present, engaged, and attuned to their experience. This silent language builds bridges of trust and closeness that words alone often cannot reach, making your emotional bond stronger, deeper, and truly unbreakable. Emotional vulnerability is the gateway to profound connection because it invites authenticity and trust into the relationship. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you're showing the other person your true self, your fears, hopes, imperfections, and deepest feelings. This openness creates a powerful invitation for reciprocal vulnerability, where both people feel safe to lower their emotional guard and meet each other on a genuine, human level. Many people fear vulnerability because it feels risky. It means exposing parts of yourself that could be judged, rejected, or misunderstood. But the truth is, vulnerability is not a weakness. It's the strongest act of courage you can offer in a relationship. When you are vulnerable, you say, "Here I am, fully me, without masks or pretenses." This honesty fosters intimacy because it breaks down barriers and replaces them with understanding and acceptance. Vulnerability also signals trust. When you share your inner world, you're essentially saying, "I trust you enough to show you my true self." This trust encourages the other person to respond in kind, creating a cycle of emotional openness that deepens the connection. Without vulnerability, relationships often stay on the surface, limited to polite conversations and guarded interactions that lack true emotional depth. Being vulnerable doesn't mean you have to share everything all at once. It's about choosing moments to open up in ways that feel safe and appropriate. It could be admitting when you're feeling insecure, expressing your needs honestly, or sharing a personal story that reveals something important about who you are. These moments, though sometimes small, accumulate over time to build a strong foundation of emotional intimacy. Another crucial aspect of vulnerability is how it's received. When someone shares vulnerably with you, responding with empathy, patience, and non-judgmental support reinforces their courage and encourages more openness. Dismissing or minimizing vulnerability can shut down communication and create emotional distance, while validating and appreciating it fosters safety and trust. Vulnerability also enhances communication by allowing for honest conversations about feelings, needs, and boundaries. When both people are willing to be open, misunderstandings decrease because you're able to express what's really going on inside, rather than hiding behind assumptions or silence. This transparency creates clarity and strengthens the relationship's resilience. It's natural to feel fear or discomfort around vulnerability, especially if past experiences have led to hurt or rejection. However, building an unbreakable emotional connection requires stepping into that discomfort with courage and intention. Each act of vulnerability is a step toward deeper trust and a richer, more meaningful relationship. Ultimately, emotional vulnerability is the foundation of intimacy. It transforms relationships from transactional interactions into soulful connections. By allowing yourself to be seen fully and encouraging the same from others, you create a safe space where love, empathy, and understanding flourish. This kind of connection is not only unbreakable, but also profoundly fulfilling and life-enhancing for everyone involved. Building an unbreakable emotional connection is not about magic or luck. It's about intentional actions rooted in understanding, presence, and respect. It begins with truly knowing yourself and your partner, consistently showing up with reliability and emotional availability. Sharing meaningful experiences together deepens your bond, while validating each other's feelings creates a safe space where vulnerability can thrive. Setting clear boundaries ensures both people feel respected and valued, and tuning into nonverbal communication allows you to connect beyond words, sensing the emotions beneath the surface. Ultimately, it's through courageous emotional vulnerability that trust, intimacy, and authenticity take root. This journey requires patience, effort, and a willingness to be real with yourself and the other person. But the reward is a connection that withstands life's challenges, grows richer over time, and nourishes both hearts deeply. When you build your relationship on these foundations, you create not just a bond, but a sanctuary, a place where both of you can be fully seen, heard, and loved. That's the true meaning of an unbreakable emotional connection.